back with another episode of NA Now. Brandon Hofstra here, joined with Maine Nordiques head coach Nick Skerlick. Nick, first off, thanks for taking some time to do this. You're entering your second season as head coach with Maine. You brought this team to the playoffs last year. Talk about how special that group of guys was.
It was a fun group. It was an older group, and that was kind of what I felt I personally needed to evolve in my rookie coaching season to lean on my 20-year-olds. We had 17 of them last year. We miss that group every day.
Mhm.
It's lovely seeing that other teams at the Division 1 level are adding them to their Instagram posts, and it's fun to see. That's what this is all about for us here. Winning championships is obviously a goal, but we want our kids to feel that Maine has made an impact on their lives into their next journey, and we're gonna miss that team sorely. It's already sorely missed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a sad ending, but we're excited for those kids to make the step into college hockey.
Yeah, you kind of touched base there. You guys had an outstanding, amazing amount of players that made NCAA commitments, 17 of them. Talk about just how great of a feeling that is. I mean, you've been a part of this league, like I said, for some time, but being right there in the mix of it with these guys on the phone, seeing coaches come in or scouts and signing paperwork and all that, but it's got to be really, really fulfilling.
It's something where when a kid walks into your office on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before practice and lets you know, hey, a school called, and maybe a week later, sometimes months later, that same kid's walking in and saying, hey, I think I'm going to commit to this college, and you can see the excitement on that player's face, and then you think about their parents if you have a relationship, their advisor if you have a relationship, and you just kind of get an understanding real quickly, and it's a humbling understanding of how much it means to these kids that they're finally making that decision of let's be real, probably a 15-year journey.
Right.
Everyone starts playing at 3 to 5 years old.
Mhm.
So when they're 20 and making that decision, it is probably a 15-year journey, and you're not the whole part of their journey, but you are the end part of their amateur career. So it is special because you
Right.
were the last one to engrave some final details and some final habits for them to make that decision. It was really exciting, and I've worked for some really good coaches. Craig Doremus is obviously a competitor. Rocky Russo's in USHL, and they were always so excited when I was scouting with those programs about kids making commitments. And I'm kind of like, well, yeah, the kid's really good. He should be going Division 1. But when you're
Mhm.
at the seat of it, it's very hard to get your best players even to schools that are newer D1 programs nowadays. It's so competitive. So I think after year one, we're going to look to get more kids into school year two, and I feel like I have a better understanding of what these schools are looking for and how to manage that and getting those schools interested. So I
Yeah.
think that's kind of part of the art of advancing players to college hockey.
100%. Nick, the off season kind of came and went for everybody, but talk about what you and your staff really dialed in on from the NAHL draft to camps to returners. And now you guys have a NA3HL squad coming too, which will help fill some holes for you and get some players in that advancement exposure development model.
Yeah, it was a we don't want to say an abrupt ending. Obviously, when you go to game 5, and the season ends right then and there, and it was very interesting because you kind of go home, get back to Lewiston, and you're like, I have 6 players on the team for next season. So, Coach Shelley, he'll be making an announcement later this week, but he's also moving on and advancing his career to a Division 1 role too. So we want to
Yeah.
add that to our Division 1 advancements.
Yeah.
I will tell you that it was last year. Coach Shelley and I really ran the recruiting table. This year, I stuck with more American players, which I didn't do in the past. But the excitement on some of these kids, we have 6 incoming from the BCHL.
Mhm.
To hear the excitement on these 04s that are going to be making their journey back east, I didn't have to work too hard, and that's a testament of how my guys made our organization look last season.
Right.
The recruiting's been busy, but at the same time, it's also enjoyable. I will say that it is a lot of fun rebuilding 2/3 of a team. Knowing the 7 you have returning, knowing their attitudes and their culture aspects to make sure you find the right pieces. I felt it was a little easier to build a team that I feel will be a playoff bound team again this season.
Yeah.
but we're going to see in a couple weeks here. I mean, we're getting down to the wire, and
Hmm.
I had the group out at a tournament in July, and we had a lot of fun in that tournament. So it's going to be a special year, I believe, for the Maine
Yeah,
Nordiques.
I love that. You kind of touch base with this upcoming season, but any more expectations that you're really wanting from this squad?
Um, I would love a couple aspects to change, minor details. I think, we had 41 wins last year, 36 in the regular season, which was a franchise record for us. It's not the number of wins for us. And I learned that about game 40.
Yeah,
Um, the league gets better.
right.
And I think the message I want to deliver to my newer players that are coming from other leagues, USHL or BCHL, it's probably the only league that gets drastically better from the main showcase in September
Hmm.
all the way to like mid-February when the trade deadline is. Like, you look at teams and sometimes there's 10 new players the next time you saw them. You
Yeah.
saw them 2 months ago, there's 10 new players.
Hmm.
And coaches are always evolving their rosters, but they're also evolving their game plan. So, like, minor details, face-offs, we were awful at last season. I think we were worse in the league. Our special teams had to be bottom five in the league. Those are things where if we implemented better face-offs and a better special teams percentage, you might have had a Robertson Cup championship. And I'm not saying this team's going to be the same talent. We don't know yet. But you can, the North American League has showed me that I have to really take care of those details as a head coach, and stress it, because if coaches in this league are not stressing those minor details, it's a long 9 month season.
Definitely. Nick, you've been a part of the NAHL, the NAPHL for some time now. This league now celebrates its 50th season coming up here in September. What comes to mind when you think of 50 years of the NA, whether it be coaches, friends, players, moments? What's something that sticks out to you?
As a junior player, I remember the Metropolitan Junior B League, and I remember they were in their 50th season about 10 years ago. And that league does no longer exists. It evolved into the EHL, in other tier three leagues. And I remember thinking, like, wow, that's a cool league. You had some really
Mhm.
old franchises in that league. And, when we went to the coaches meetings, I didn't realize it was the 50th year. And I remember turning to another coach in our league. I'm like, 50 years.
Yep.
And what's special to me about that for the league is continuing to grow. It's getting better. It's getting more commitments. So it's like a giant freight train, in my opinion, of college advancements coming at you, because this league's not going anywhere. And
Mhm.
pretty soon that number will be 60, right, in 10 years. And that number is going to be 60. And to see what you guys at the office do, and what Mark Frankenfeld does to continue to evolve the league
Yep.
is special. I'm excited to be a part of it in the 50th year. I've been a part of it for 5 years, one way or the other. And I tell everybody it is the most fun I've ever had working in hockey was this last season. It is an interesting dynamic, from the
Yep.
travel to the 10 games in 14 days for the playoffs. It prepares kids for school, and it
Yeah.
definitely prepares coaches to get through stressful times, because it's made me a better person and more organized. That's for sure.
100%. The showcase, like you said, or like we have said, it kicks off here in gosh, about a month. But how excited are you to be up in Blaine, Minnesota, see some familiar faces, and obviously play some hockey?
The showcase last year was different for me. I've gone to the showcase 6 times now. So this
Hmm.
year will be my seventh. And it was the first time, as a coach, I'd say the last year I went in the PHL, I really felt like I could have been behind a bench at the showcase finally, after seeing the same faces over and over
Right.
again. It is the number one recruiting tool I use.
Yep.
I tell everyone about the showcase. Every school is there. I'm calling all my Division 3 friends, my Division 1 assistant coach friends that I've
Mhm.
started meeting this year, and just say, hey, where are you staying? Where are you going? It is a giant pool of fun and competition.
Yep.
That's great. But what's the best part of the showcase is the treatment those Division 1 schools are getting from the league. The
Mhm.
Division 3 schools are getting from the league. I always make the joke. I tell kids all the time, we shatter an M&M bucket record every year. And hopefully that's not because we're getting larger, but we're growing the exposure. There's more schools, there's more teams, more levels coming out. That's the highlight for us: the showcase, the playoffs, and the Robertson Cup, and you're guaranteed one as a North American League franchise. So I always tell my guys, hey, we got a freebie here. Let's make the most of it. And one thing I will say too, which is really interesting about the showcase, everyone talks about on the ice. to see how teams handle themselves off the ice, what they're wearing, their new apparel,
Mhm.
their what they're traveling in. Organizations do a really good job showing what they're all about at that showcase, and that's what makes it fun for us, because then we go back and we figure out our product off the ice as well. So really excited for the showcase. I love to say we're 100% prepared, but we have a lot of work to do when we move in about 10 days here.
Well, here's a fun one for you. I just pulled up a tweet from last year about how many M&Ms were eaten. It was 69 3-pound, 14-ounce tubs of peanut M&Ms that were consumed. And I took a picture next to it, and it was about as tall as I am, actually taller than I am, which isn't saying much, but there you go. So 70 is the goal this year,
Oh my
at
gosh.
least.
Well, listen, with the schedule I'm given, I have a lot of downtime, so I'll probably have no problem getting to 70 with me in the scouting area most of the weekend. So I feel like we can hit that record, and that's what makes this league so much fun. And I can't thank the league enough for sending us out to the NHL draft and the treatment the coaches get. And everyone just wants to coach at this level, in my opinion, to say they work with good players. What the league does for us as coaches is second to none. And that includes the best leagues in the world, whether it's Canada or the league above us in the USHL. Working in this league is an absolute privilege, and even doing this call, it's special. I was excited to see your face. I prepared myself for this call, so just can't thank the league enough for what they do for the players and then also the coaches.
Well, we appreciate everything, Nick. Appreciate you, and we're more than excited to see you guys up in Blaine, Minnesota coming up here soon. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, appreciate it.